Hey there, welcome to the drawing stream. If you are just now joining or if you're brand new to the channel, welcome and I appreciate you being here. This is the 12th installment, part 12 of this portrait challenge that I've been working on for quite some time now. So, week to week, we took a vacation, so we were off for the past 3 weeks, I believe it was. Yeah. And so we're back and want to go ahead and start back on this drawing today. And this is a long process because a few things. We're on Stonehenge paper, and the technique that I use on Stonehenge, I'm sharpen my pencil here while I'm talking, but the technique I use takes a long time. And so some people don't have the temperament for that kind of thing. For some, it's a new process. And once they go through it and they realize coming out on the other side that they like the result, then they become a little more open to that and acclimated to that process. Um, so if that's you today, and if you've been following along and you're thinking about trying this, you've been just watching, keep an open mind and consider doing something like this. Okay, so it's been about 4 weeks since I looked at this drawing. And so just coming back to it and looking at it, affords me some opportunities because I now have a fresh perspective and I can look at it with a renewed sense of, you know, what's going on here? What am I missing? What needs attention? And that sort of thing. So and as I look at it and I'm thinking about values, I'm going to go in here and just darken up some of the values that I see that I think could be a little darker than what I'm currently seeing. And so I'm using dark flesh and luminance just to grab some of these dark areas. Hey, Jan, how are you? Thanks for joining. Jan's over on Facebook Live. Jan, it was such a great vacation. Thank you so much for your interest. Yeah, it was so wonderful. I'll be sharing some photos over there on Monthly Sharpener, and I can't wait to show you guys that. And so Deb, hey, thanks for joining. Deborah is over on YouTube Live, and you're asking one question: no podcast this week? Yeah, no, I did put out a podcast. Hopefully, you've been able to take a look at that. It's over there and available to you. So if you've not seen it, if you've not been able to download it yet or see it over there, yeah, it's there. If you use a podcast player. So, yeah, I can't wait to show that too, Jan. That'll be a lot of fun. Hey, Masa. I'll go with that. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. Over there on YouTube Live. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, so there's not a show notes page for the past two podcasts because these were smaller podcasts and they were personal notes from me is what they were. So but yeah, if you're using a podcast player, then you should be able to listen to the podcast, the brand new those past two shows. Yeah, there's a whole lot. Okay, Deborah, if you're not listening to the podcast on a traditional player, like Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or Amazon, an Echo device or Amazon Music, or something like that, then you're not going to, you may not see it. So I just use my phone, and I pull it up in a player on my phone. So the past two have been Podcast Break, Vacation Announcement. So that was on the 28th, and then this past one was Coming Back, Lessons Learned. So, um, yeah. So this one I shared a couple of things that happened. Yeah, if you saw it on Spotify, then yeah, you're good to go. Um, yeah, I forgot to take my shoulder strap, and I forgot to take my additional battery. Yep, that's it, Deborah. You got it. All right. Let me grab this Dark Flesh here. Yeah. Yeah. Lesson learned. And the biggest lesson that I learned is um, make sure you pack early and don't forget things. That pencil's getting a little short. Let me grab one with a little more length on it. It's hard to use when your pencil gets that short. All right, looking for Dark Flesh. Might be time to order a few more of those. They're all getting really short, apparently. Okay. All I'm seeing is dark indigo, so let's go ahead and work with it. Now, see, the nice thing about this paper, in my opinion, is I can darken up some of these areas, and then I can go back over um, areas that I feel like might be too dark with a lighter pencil, and it will lean it back in a lighter direction. Now, I can't, uh, you know, go over dark areas with light pencils and push it back in a totally, lighter direction, or get that value to become extremely light. That's very, very difficult to do on Stonehenge. But what I can do is I can shift it a little bit, but it's not to the degree that I could on a non-absorbent surface like sanded paper or on pastel mat, something like that. But there is still some flexibility on Stonehenge paper. I just noticed this side of the nose right here, this shadow could be a lot darker than what it is. There we go. Yeah, the biggest problem that I had this time related to forgetting to take my additional battery. I did buy another battery for my camera, but what happened was uh, I saw a mother grizzly bear at the time that I didn't have my DSLR camera operational, wasn't working because the battery was dead. So I got out there taking pictures of this grizzly bear with my cell phone. So I'll never forget that. I'll never forget just how bad I felt about not having that additional battery. So, what do you think the first thing is that I did after that? I went out and bought an additional battery. That was crazy, though. Okay. This could be darker right here. Yep, exactly, Deborah. Yep, no kidding. That's for sure. I was wanting to see a grizzly or any bear, really. I mean, even a black bear would have been fine. And then to see a mother grizzly on the side of the road with two baby cubs was, oh my goodness, I just can't even explain to you how exciting that was. And having, just that being that close, having just that interaction, I was probably about 30 feet away from the bear. Jumped outside of the van, got over there as close as I could get without feeling like I was, endangering my safety. And the door to the van was very, very close by, so it's not like I couldn't jump right inside there. But I mean, to be clear, if she hadn't wanted me there, she was tolerating me. So if she hadn't wanted me there, she would have made that known, and she would have decided that um, she would have decided to attack or something like that. She could have easily decided that if she wanted to. So anyway, yeah, I'm sure I looked like the typical tourist. Yeah, that. Well, see, the funny thing is, Deborah, is went back into town after um, getting getting pictures of that bear on my cell phone, and went back into town, the town of Du Bois, and went to the gas station to get gas. And as I was getting gas, a local guy there was he started talking to me and was talking about that bear. And there's a name, they named the bear. They know the bear. She comes out, I guess past few years, and she's in that one area and on the side of the road there. And he said, yeah, she tolerates people to stop and take pictures or whatever. Um, so I just thought that was so interesting. They even had a name for her. I think it was Linda, if I remember correctly, that they called the bear. Um, so yeah, chances are she'll be there again. So it was thrilling to be that close to a bear and to be able to just watch her and watch what she's doing and interacting with her cubs. And um, she was teaching them how to forage, and she was foraging along that little embankment there by the side of the road, and it was just fascinating to see that. Okay, let's see here. We're gonna. My plan was to fade this out as I move my way down, fade out the drawing so that we're not filling in as much of the darkest values down here, but as it fades away. Um, so I want to keep that in mind, keep that plan in mind as I move back up. I think one of the focal points, though, and I probably want to increase the dark values right here in the nose, this whole region of the face, and then we'll fade it out over that way. um, because we're really trying to focus on the expression on the eyes and nose and mouth right in here. That's our focus. Okay, I want to move over to this cheek now that we do have enough value in several other places now. And start adding a little bit of color here, a little more than what we have already. Using my Herculaneum Red at the moment. So I'm getting quite a bit of this pigment on the paper. Maybe a little more than what I want really at this point. Getting like this thick buildup of wax, really. I'm not sure how well that's communicating. A camera might may not be able to see it as well as what I am. And so now I want to come in here with my ivory and polychromos just to and hit it from a different angle a little bit. So now what this will allow me to do is to smooth out that layer. Blend that together a little bit better. There we go. Hey, Nancy. Thanks for joining. Hey, thank you, Harry. It's good to be back. Good to have you guys out here today, Nancy and Harry. Okay, that blended that out really, really nicely. And it subdued that color as well. Hey, Karen, how are you? Karen's over on Facebook Live. Good to see you out here as well, Karen. So I am so excited about the upcoming workshop on this Friday, 25th. So Friday and Saturday, we're going to be drawing Dark Skin and a beautiful little girl, a good friend of ours and of my daughter's. And so calling that one Zaya in Blue. That's a nickname for her. She goes by Zaya. Her name's Kazaya. So, but yeah, I'm so excited about that particular workshop coming up. She's wearing a blue top, and so we'll be able to have that beautiful contrast between just that blue and skin tone, and just that nice complement. Okay, That's about what we want to do right there. Now, obviously, the more layers that you can put down and the more that you can go back and forth between a slightly darker value and a lighter value, and you keep layering and overlapping over and over again, uh, the more dynamic and the more smooth that application layer will become. There's just something wonderful about that when we're able to create that that smooth application layer that you just can't get otherwise. I mean, there's probably 100 different ways of stating that, right? And depicting that particular value. And one way is to just put on the color that you see and the value that you're attempting to match. And you may get that right, but what happens when you do that could be that you create something that is um, lifeless and very static, has just an edge to it over here next to the nose, and over here next to the side of the face. Um, Nothing wrong with that. But what happens when we take a little more time and we develop some curve and some dimensional form in the cheek? Well, then what happens is, in my opinion, you can start creating something that is more compelling, and it draws the viewer in. It helps them to wonder about the curve, and you can make something look like it's more three dimensional and it's popping off the page, right? Hey, Shiny, how are you? Good to have you out here as well. Okay, let me darken up this value just a little bit before we go today. And I don't want to stay out here too long. We've got things we got to get caught up on. Um, but I wanted to take a look at this and try to start back into looking at the values. It's a good thing to do when you come back to a piece after you've been away from it for a while. Look at it with a fresh set of eyes, and don't try to just catch up with where you were, but ask yourself, what would I do today? What am I going to do today? And treat it as though, this is a brand new drawing. What am I going to do? Because it can get overwhelming. You can tell yourself, oh, I gotta figure out where I was when I left the drawing, you know. But you don't have to do that. All you have to do is look at it right now, remember the vision you had, and think about where you're wanting to go with the piece. Look at your reference, and a lot of times that will jog your memory and will help you to understand what your vision was for the piece in the beginning. Now, that may sound contradictory to some because you may be thinking, well, isn't your goal just to recreate the reference photo? No, that's never my goal. My goal is to do something with the artwork and the art piece that elevates the particular subject. And so I'm using the reference photo as a baseline comparison for early on in the piece. But I'm wanting to achieve something different than just a reproduction of a reference. All right. Let me grab this darker pencil again. Dark Flash, I was using the Carmine Lake. Let's switch over to Dark Flash. I'm going to sharpen that up. me take a look here. Yeah, I noticed that I reserved a little bit of that lighter area in the sclera. Maybe because I didn't have it dark enough on top here first, or yet. But I can darken this up now down below, because I've already added a darker value on top. Okay. And then I can make it darker on the bottom now as well. Okay. I'm going to add a little more of this dark value over here on the cheek. And there's a little bit of a separation where you would have a terminator line right in here. Now, I don't want that to be very abrupt. So shiny, you're saying because this portrait John is doing is looking a little Mona Lisa style. Am I wrong? If it's looking that way, I guess I'm okay with that. It's not my intention, but that's fine. Okay. I want to get rid of some of those little clumps right there that start to create like an edge. And then right in the middle here, I want it to be just a little bit darker right in there. Okay. All right. So that will take a lot of time to develop that and to darken that up quite a bit. So I'm not going to do that today or right now. Starting it, though, is a good thing to do right before you stop, right before you decide to leave the drawing alone. This is a little bit dark right there, which I could, if I look at it, and I have to sort of make a determination of how much pigment I have on the paper. So I could lighten it up, or I could use ivory, a polychromos pencil, and lighten that up a little bit more as well. But I'm going to go ahead and lighten it just a little bit right there. All right, and then in keeping with what I did down here, I want to do something very similar up here as well and move my way down the edge of the nose here, or the side of the nose rather, right here on this little side plane. I want to add a little more of this Herculaneum red, and then we can add or apply our ivory. And there's a little bit of a lighter value right here and a lighter value over there, but in between here, it's slightly darker. This is all a very static hue, though. This hue doesn't change a whole lot, but we can pretend there's a separation in some of these hues a little bit. Like we could, because this is a lighter area, this is a highlight that's reflecting light, right? So we could have a little more yellow over here, red and then yellow. That would make sense as we move away from where that highlight is. So it's just something to at least have in our mind, keep in our mind, if nothing else. Whether we want to do it or not, is a separate thing, but it's an option. Okay, now going to take a little more of this off right here and over on this side. Okay, now I will add a layer of ivory. And sharpen that up. Okay. So I'm going to start over this way, and I'm going to move into that darker value because I'm really matching the value over here on this side, and I'm pushing this color, this lighter value, over into this mid-range value. By doing that, I am lightening up this dark value, and I'm really getting into my mid values when I do that. Now, I'm not pressing real hard, especially at the beginning, because I want to blend this together. If I press really hard, I might just create some, any little uneven areas right in there. I will just enhance that unevenness in the application of the pencil strokes. So if I have just some solid strokes in there, then they're going to look even worse, or they're going to look even more like it's just pencil strokes if I press really hard. Okay, now I'll extend this out just a little bit more on this side with my Herculaneum red. Both sides, really. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add that ivory over here in this area, right there on the side plane of the nose. Hit it from a couple of, maybe a few different angles. Pay attention to some of the areas where it might be darker or some of the pigment has built up. And I'll just keep adding that over and over and working my way down. There we go. Okay. Now that's still not quite as smooth as what I wanted right in here. All right. So I'm going to grab a very light color. So lighter hue, but I want to match some of the colors that I've already got on there. So I've got a Polychromos color, very, very light pink color. I could look at this and let you know what it is. Light flesh is what it is. So because of the name changes, it's 152. Yeah, 152 is what it looks like. So in case you're wondering what this color is, we can add a little bit of this right there in that darkest area. So like I was mentioning before, this will help to lighten up the values that I have on the surface. It shifts it over into a lighter area. All right. A little bit of dust there on the surface I want to get rid of. Okay, I want to move out here. Very, very, very light touch. Barely touching the paper at the moment, just to add a little more of this color. There we go. And since I'm in this area, I'll go ahead and add this right here next to the nose, which is a nice touch here because we're creating a little continuity between both of these areas. There we go. Now I'm going to look at what we've got going on the top. Right in here, I can add a little more of this color right here. Again, just looking for some areas to shift from being darker into a lighter hue, and it will also add some continuity in this side of the face between all of these areas. If I use a different pencil every single time for every spot, that's kind of right, Harry. Harry's asking. That's a good question. Harry says, "Do you have a pile of flesh colors beside you, and just choose what you think is the color you want next to the mixed manufacturer pile because you know the pencils that well?" Yeah, yeah, I do keep. I have one bin, so I separate all of my pencils now by hue, so by colors, and regardless of which pencil manufacturer it is. And but for a little while now, I've had them kind of just spread out here, a little disorganized. With they're just kind of spread out here beside me right now, and only because I've been doing so many portrait pieces lately, and so yeah, because of that, I'm thinking in the direction of, okay, do I need something that is more pink, or something that is more yellow, or something more red, and so, or purple, or whatever. And so I'll just grab that, whatever that is. Okay, now this is cinnamon that I'm using at the moment right here. Now I'm making this just slightly darker and slightly more pink right here than the reference because I like that look a little bit better. I think it makes a lot of sense. We're talking about this little divot right here. that we often see next to side plane of the nose. So, I mean, we have to pay attention, right, to the reference photo. It could start looking really odd if we didn't, and if we just made that so recessed and dark that we didn't pay attention to the reference, then it wouldn't look like that person. So we do have to pay attention, is my point. Okay, and I'm on this other side here of the nose. I'm getting close to the highlight, right, right there down the middle of the nose. So I can use this light flesh 10% on this other side and just soften that edge that we have right there. So this is a yellow. So I can also use this yellow over here next to this highlight, where this highlight is. And over here as well. Really, the ivory color in polychromos is more of just the sort of the warm white color that we have in the Stonehenge paper that we're using this time. It's a nice color to use to get something back to what we're seeing in the paper itself, but it's also nice as a blender. It kind of blends out some of the heavier wax layers that we have down with some of these luminance pencils that we're using. Okay. Go ahead and stop right now. Oh, well, this was fun. Just getting back into this drawing and working on it again was a lot of fun. I will see some of you later this afternoon, some of the face value students, and then I'll see some of you also face value students tomorrow on Tuesday as well. Some of those of you who are in the beginner's colored pencil course, I'll see on Wednesday during office hours. I'm talking about our office hours live Zoom Q&A sessions that we do every single week. The rest of you, or even more of you maybe, I will see on Friday during the workshop. So can't wait for that. Thanks for joining today, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.